Hello, I am Kristina Campbell, and I want to welcome you to Sexual Freedom for Women, where you can learn how to lose your inhibitions, deeply connect, and finally experience that pleasure that you have always desired. Today, we are talking with Anaiya Sophia. I am so excited to have you here. She is a prolific teacher of the mystic, and I am going to read her bio for you to give you a little snippet of this amazing woman. Anaiya Sophia is an independent mystic of an almost forgotten faith and a teacher of Kundalini Yoga. She carries an oral transmission from the sacred feminine mysteries, which she weaves into all of her gatherings. Anaya breathes the wisdom of the feminine principle into the transformational process we long for. She is an author of many books, and she's currently working on her next book, The Fierce Feminine, Awakening the Power of the Heart. Anaya, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. It's my honor to be here.
Oh, first, I would just love you to talk about yourself and tell us how you got into this work and what you do.
Well, I feel as a child, I was always interested in sacred union, sacred marriage, that devotional, worshipful aspect of loving the divine and the human in one. That was that part. But there was definitely a turning point that drew me into the body, into sexuality. And that was in 2009 when I had an abnormal reading for my smear test. I think it's called a pap smear in the States.
Yeah.
So that was when I realized, although secretly I already knew, that my yoga practice had catapulted me into the heart, into that gorgeous devotee worship, adoration place. And I'd actually sort of leapfrogged over the deep, deep sexual part of my body and all the stories and traumas and emotions that were down there. And of course, 2009 brought that to my attention. And that is when I began what I call my authentic womb journey. Up until that point, I was only aware of that part of my body as the second or the sacral chakra. You know, this is a place of creativity and fun and spontaneity, you know. But the health crisis showed me the other side of the womb and how it carries everything, all your material, all your feminine material. So that was how I got into the sexual and the womb mysteries. But what's interesting me at the moment, and has done in the last year, is now the voice. So I'm sort of doing a very similar journey, but in the throat.
Oh,
like excavating.
Oh, beautiful. So I want to talk about both of these, and our topic today is the permission to awaken. So I would love for you to talk about how you found that permission for yourself, how women can give themselves permission to awaken and to sexually heal.
Yes, the greatest to any woman who's going on this journey, whether it's the voice or just self-esteem or sexuality, the very first thing you can do to really amplify your journey is to create a circle of girlfriends. Literally, oh, a kitty cat. Literally imbuing you with feminine permission. Us ladies, particularly the ones in the West, we didn't even have that permission the moment we were born. You know, we've always been under a shadow, if you like, of non-permission, non-allowance, no choices, no direction. Well, my generation, maybe the younger ones, well, definitely the younger ones are experiencing something different. Mm-hmm. So the first thing we have to do is restore our own permission to simply become the fullness of what we're carrying. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're going to have moments when we're very doubtful of ourselves. And so if our beautiful girlfriends are just imbuing us, suffusing us with that affirmation, confirmation, and yesness, but not from a place of arrogance or aren't we great, but from that really deep, sincere heart.
Yes, and this has really been a thread too through a lot of these interviews is about sisterhood and really
Yeah.
finding it. I mean, I feel truly just so grateful and blessed to have found a coven of women that I have been having ceremony with for over 10 years. And we just hold space for each other and mirror each other and reflect and just witness, to
Yes.
really witness each other's healings. And it is just it's priceless. You cannot do this completely alone. You have got to find somebody that you can feel seen by, especially when it comes to sexual shame and all these things that come up, that if we don't have a place and a mirroring and a place to be seen and feel okay, that we will just push it back down.
Absolutely.
So absolutely, so beautiful. So what is the permission to speak up, and how can we free our voices and use our voice to heal?
Well, the way I'm doing it is I'm turning to Kali. I'm turning to Kali. Another similar energy would be the Black Madonna or Ishtar, some kind of dark, feminine, primordial being. And of course, even by envisioning that quality of being, you get a sense how they live. Even if they're just, an entity or an archetype, you still get to actually feel their full aliveness. And so I've been asking Kali or the Black Madonna, because she can't open my voice. She can't open my throat. What she can do is engineer brilliant circumstances and people who will play their part beautifully to entice that self-initiatory awakening.
Yes, it's almost that when it comes from the permission, just going through the process of granting yourself the permission to enter even into your shadow, or into the places that need to be healed, and then the universe just starts to provide for you to have these experiences of healing and transformation. And I've worked a lot too with goddess and archetype energies in order to gain those tools and to open the mind. Once you have an awareness of something, then life just seems to offer you the opportunity.
Yes. I don't know if you can see behind me, but just over there, that is like a full Kali and Black Madonna altar.
Oh.
And my husband and I, we sleep with the altar burning with candles all night long.
Oh.
So should you wake up, you just turn to the corner of the room and you're like, oh.
I'm still there. I'm immersed.
And of course, 3 o'clock in the morning, that really embeds in your mind, and off you go on a great dream. So this energy is very present at the moment.
Wow,
and
beautiful.
Because we both sit before her altar every evening, you just kind of have this like extra vigilance the next day, because you're asking for this. So you're kind of like looking around, knowing it's gonna come.
Wow, I love that you're, when you truly do ask for it,
Yes.
you know that it's going to come. You don't have to be in a place of, what I call like my desperate longing, before I really started to open myself, all I could feel was the desperate longing. And that really does lessen, and it minimizes when you know that the universe is abundantly providing you the opportunities to heal and the catalysts for all of that, whether it's, friends, or that you find yourself on, the table of an energy worker who is the perfect person at that moment, whatever these moments are for you.
Yes.
Yes. So one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about too was integrity. How do we stay in integrity and in alignment and really have those create those clear boundaries, because I know that sometimes women think that when they, if they were to unleash their sexual power, that they're going to start getting all this energy coming their way that they won't know how to deal with, you know, if they're sexually alive, you know? So how do we stay in alignment and in integrity with our sexuality and have clear boundaries?
Well, I must say, in these 48 years of Earth life, my integrity always gets deeper after I've made a little bit of a mistake. So it's like it comes as a gift after crossing the line. So, you know, if I've stepped left or I've stepped right, I will often have a little bitch slap very soon after the event. And that's what aligns me. So I've never been able to set my integrity before the act. It's always come afterwards.
Oh, I just love that. I mean? That is a beautiful offering. You know, it really is, we learn and grow through our mistakes, and it really truly is about having compassion with ourselves. And in that compassion, we can stay open to the learning, the gift of the sidestep.
Yes. And I must say, you know, at the beginning of my sexual journey, and many, many others, if not all, there is a phase of incredible sexual expansion. And the whole world becomes sexual. And you just are that energy. And oh my God, it's like bees to a honeypot. So that is a phase. And that's noted in the womb wisdom journey. We call it the magnetic womb. A woman is so in her gorgeous, radiant womb space that she's like a beacon. She's like a lighthouse transmitting. It's not availability, but it's like magnetic, radiant charm. And, you know, it's not just men, it's women and young children and animals. Everyone flocks to that lady. And that is how I learned about integrity, because there was a huge attraction. So I had to learn quick, and I had to learn fast. You know, what am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? What am I saying I don't know to? And I had to learn to navigate very, very quickly. Otherwise, I could have gotten into a lot of trouble. And thank God, you know, for me, my womb opening journey began in my 40s. So I had a little bit of a wise head on my shoulders. If it had opened in my 20s, oh my God.
Oh, so how do women who maybe have had experiences of crossing boundaries and feeling like they don't trust themselves, how can we really begin to trust that we do know what is right and wrong for us, even if we do make a slight mistake? Like, we trust ourselves enough that we're not going to, you know, make a really poor, go way off track, you know? How do women really get in touch with their intuition, their deep knowing?
Well, the first part of the question, I would always turn to prayer. And that is why I feel I have this gorgeous, close relationship with Mary Magdalene. Now, Mary knows about sexual energy. She knows about ferocious, incredible, undulating sexual energy. And so I would turn to her, you know, as a sister, as a friend, as a mother at times. So if if I had made a little error, like a little oops, I would turn to her in really sincere prayer that night and say, help me navigate this force. Do not let me suppress it. Do not let me exaggerate it. Let it be wild and free, and show me how to walk with elegance and nobility, and not hide this, not diminish it in any way. So that's a good being to communicate with on that level. And as for trusting the intuition, well, for me, I had to develop that intimate relationship with my womb. So with my reproductive system, with the ovaries, with the fallopian tubes, with the yoni, you know, maybe wearing things like a yoni egg to really give me a palpable sensation 24 hours a day. And that was where I was situated. And that was where my words came from, my choices came from there, the way I dressed came from there. And that gave me the anchor to trust my intuition. So I'm so grounded down here that I can open here. And even if it's like, well, that's ridiculous, that can't possibly be my intuition, I would always follow it accurately. And of course, it was spot on. But the mind, the logical mind, at first would doubt and question.
Absolutely, yes. This grounding into the womb, sending our energy down to this root place where we can feel our whole energy and body fully grounded, and not just swimming up here and letting the things that happen to us during the day, set us off track. But and of course we can get set off track again and again, but having that practice of really plugging into we've been disconnected. Women have been disconnected for, millennia now from our intuition, our powerful, powerful womb space and sexuality. And it really can be a trusted guiding source of knowing. And really it's like consciousness is just right there. And we are fully connected to the web of all consciousness of life when we truly listen and open up to the power of the womb space. So I completely agree. What is easily implemented tool or practice that women can use to ground themselves or open themselves to the energy of their womb?
I would say wearing the yoni egg. I don't necessarily work with the jade egg. For some reason, it's just a preference. I go more for 3 qualities of crystal. So at the beginning of the journey, I use a rose quartz, something delicate, gentle, very compassionate. And then when I feel that my yoni is used to these, what seem strange things to be doing at the beginning, then I'd move on to more of the redder crystals, like a red carnelian. So this is now working with the mother energy and the gorgeousness of pregnancy, of physical and non-physical offspring. And then when I'm really secure and ready for a very deep journey, then I'd consider working with a black obsidian, which is like a black Madonna or a Kali energy. And this is for the deepest womb healing. So this absolutely would heal grave trespasses or huge psychic attachments. Like, we're all talking about the new predator at the moment on Facebook. So that kind of very disturbing, psychopathic connection to you from another person or group of people, a community. So the black obsidian will just absolutely null and void all of that. And of course, womb energy is very attractive to others. This is a very incubatory, creative, manifesting force. So not to be afraid, definitely not to be afraid, but just to be aware.
So do you think that that women can just start a practice using the yoni egg or the jade egg by themselves, or do they need guidance? Can they just, start in it, put it in there and wear it, or do they really need guidance on how it can be used?
It would be nice to have a little bit of a mentor. And I would really advise Shona Keeley-Jones on that one. She has a website called Womb Illumination. At first, us ladies, we look at the jade egg, well, especially the Brits, and we're like, oh my God, you want me to put that inside? I'll never get it out. So there's this fear at the beginning of A, putting it in, and B, getting it out again. And there needs to be a video made about this. And perhaps Shona has already done that, because it's so simple and so graceful and so easy if you're relaxed and trusting. So, to all the ladies listening and watching, let us dispel that myth right now. I understand the fear, but it's very easy. and
Mm-hmm.
very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And
And
sometimes in
yeah,
order to take that journey, you know, a lot of women have not been maybe touching themselves. They're not acquainted with their yonis. They're just put a tampon in there and take it out. You know, I've been using Diva cup for many years now, a menstrual cup. So more, you know, was connected with that, you know, deep connection with my yoni prior to even going through this, you know, big sexual healing. So it wasn't a big shift for me to think of using a yoni egg and putting it up there. But I know that, you know, some women might need to do a little bit more healing and getting comfortable and removing the shame, you know, or disgust that our culture, you know, gives us around our vaginas or our pussies or our yonis or whatever you feel comfortable calling your sexuality.
absolutely. And there's
So,
another lovely step that one can take before the yoni egg. And this is what I did. It was like to decorate. Now I'm a fashion designer, so that part of me is always there. So, you know, I would like edge nakedly towards the full length mirror. And I might, you know, play around with like a belly belt, you know, belly necklace, belly chain. And of course, sometimes you have an extended part at the back, which you'd wear at your tailbone. So, of course, I would turn that around so that that extra long bit dangled in front of the pubic bone. And I was like, wow, that looks beautiful. That really looks beautiful. And then I got a little bit braver. The legs started to open a little bit. I'm still standing full length. And I'm like, oh, hello. The labia, the lips are now showing. And instead of like, cringing in pain, which of course the programmed part of me wanted to do, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be looking at yourself in the mirror. And so breathing, surrendering, and knowing that this is a healing journey. This is up there with all good medical health. Continue on, open the legs, see, look. And then eventually I came down onto my bottom in front of the full length mirror, opened the legs completely and started the yoni gaze, which at the very first time was horrific. I was so much heat, so much sweat. It was a tumultuous experience. And all I'm doing is gazing at a part of my body. And that's when I knew this work is real. This is immense. And then I kept going back to the belly chain, seeing the beauty of the golden ball on the chain, coming back to the actual fleshy parts, coming back to the necklace, until eventually I could see the whole thing as beauty. It was like a beautiful detail, a neckline. It was up there with all of my other creations.
Oh gosh, I love that. It was such a beautiful sharing. I know that one of the, you know, first things that so many practitioners or mentors ask you to do is, if you've never looked at your yoni, to get it, you know, make a private time and get a mirror and actually look at yourself and to really know that everything is normal.
Yes.
Whatever you see is normal. If you are all small and tight and everything is uniform, normal. If you are big and with all your labia large and your inner ones hanging out, and one is shorter and one is smaller and one is dark and brown and the other one is pink, and no matter what you look like, it is absolutely beautiful. We don't judge the difference between the roses that are blossoming on the rose bush. We say, oh, look at that one, it's so beautiful. Oh, look at that one, it's so beautiful. I want to smell this one. I want to smell this one. Yeah. That is exactly what your pussy is. It is a beautiful, blossoming, 100% unique, gorgeous expression of life.
Yeah.
So I feel so lucky to be a woman.
Absolutely. This journey is incredible. Incredible. And what I've noticed is that the more you share with ladies, the closer you become and how real the love is. So, you know, a few years later after that episode, obviously now it's time to show someone else. It's now time to show the best friend.
Not just the OBGYN.
And that was, seriously, that was the most bonding thing I'd ever done. I felt ridiculous. I felt so awkward, so silly. So I suggested this thing to her. And she was like, I'd love to look. And I'm like, oh my God.
I thought you'd say no.
And then, you know, afterwards, you know, like a child, like a 16-year-old, I said, can I see yours? And we looked and we laughed. But even though I was laughing and giggling like a young lady, the mystic in me knew this is important. This is important. This is tremendously healing. You are knocking so much trauma out of your ancestral line right now, the pair of you. This is way beyond you and your friend.
Absolutely. I know that one time I was in ceremony with this really young woman, and she was talking about how she had had a beautiful childhood. Nothing traumatic had ever happened to her. And yet she had this deep well of pain that she felt like she could just pull from and pull from and pull from and pull from. And that it wasn't until she realized that this was ancestral pain. This was genetics. This was things that had happened to her mother and her grandmother and all those that had come before, that she released the questioning of needing to know why she felt like she was suffering, but that she could truly, heal and let go and surrender to the suffering, allow it to pass through her. And truly that's the healing of the lineage, the ancestral healing, when we acknowledge that we do carry it.
Yes.
So beautiful. I love you offering that sisterhood gazing. I do have to say that I have done very similar things with my girlfriends. And I was a bit of a wild, like in my early 20s. Check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, so healing, so amazing to just see the difference, to know in your mind that whatever you see is absolutely normal, but then, to actually see other women's vaginas, not just on porn where maybe they've had their labia trimmed or they're perfectly shaved, or, and you can find a million reasons to compare yourself and go into that cultural thing of, well, mine is not that,
Yes. Yeah.
But to really see others, and we don't have the opportunity. What's that?
Wild yonis.
Yes, wild yonis. Oh, we love them all.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your free gift, so that our audience knows what you have to offer today.
Yes. So this is a transmission for all of those beautiful women, and maybe a handful of men as well, who really feel so deep in their bodies that they have been some kind of temple priestess or sexual priestess or keeper of the temple for the boys, for the men. And that they are longing, they are thirsting to hear or receive that journey again, for the reasons of permission, that they just want to affirm that they're carrying what I call the temple codes, and just rip off every inhibition and dive into that way of life again. And I guess this transmission, will take you on an awakening journey where you remember the fragrances, the sounds, the gorgeousness of being in the temple, that way of life, being married to the divine and utterly loving anyone who just happens to cross your path, whether that's a man, a woman, a child, or even someone being born. Yeah. So if you carry the temple codes, you are going to relish this transmission.
Beautiful. And I just want to invite anybody that's feeling resistance or that they don't know how to give themselves permission to go on this journey, to click on this gift and take this opportunity to give yourself permission, to have some assistance in giving yourself permission through going on this journey with Anaya, because it's truly beautiful. And you may really experience an opening of your heart and a willingness to continue on this path of sexual healing.
I just want to say to the people considering this gift, because I was, in my earlier days, very wary of sexual energy. And because of my past, quite promiscuous, I was cautious of who took me on this journey in terms of mentorship. Because the last thing I wanted to do was go back to how I was behaving in my 20s. So this level of transmission, and particularly the vision of the temple that I remember, is so exquisitely coming from the heart. So the sexual energy is there, but it is supported in this heartfelt, sincere, loving embrace. Yeah, I just spoke it that way. I couldn't actually find a teacher imbuing that. So I just, okay, I'll speak it then. I'll say it. So it will be very comforting to anyone who's a little bit wary of that serpent that we have to awaken, but we can do so cautiously and with the gorgeousness of the soul overlooking the whole procedure.
Gorgeous. Oh, I'm so grateful that you described it that way, because there is, you know, we do have trust stuff, and I want you to know that you can trust Anaya. She is amazing, so beautiful. Go check out her gift. Go check out her website and see that she has got so many beautiful things to offer, and that she has guided so many women along this journey. So I want to thank you again for being here with me today. What a beautiful conversation. Thank you for offering me and our audience all of your wisdom and beautiful, beautiful goddess energy. Thank you so much.
And likewise, thank you for sharing your personal stories.
Oh,
beautiful.
Oh,
another wild child.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to sign off for now. So until next time, thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.